Another new comic book day is here, which means we're being forced once again to look at the budget and decide what we're getting. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're not, welcome back. Now on this channel, I do comic book unboxings, reviews, hauls, and in this series, it's called What I'm Getting. I get to show you what's on my pull list so that you can help decide, or so I can help you decide what you'll buy at the comic shop this Wednesday. So if you're interested in that type of content, hit the subscribe button, then hit the bell icon. That way you're notified when new videos go live. Now, I always like to start these lists off with the book that I'm most excited for. It's another stacked new comic book week, a lot of new releases, a lot of series that are just kind of like in the middle. Some of them I'm caught up on, some of them I'm not. So we're going to take a look at what I'm getting, and we might have to chop a couple of items off of this list to stay under budget. But let's go ahead and get started with the book that I'm most excited for, and that week, that is Gunslinger Spawn #1. It's written by Todd McFarlane with art by Kevin Keane, and there are a ton of covers for this book. The Brett Booth cover A, I think might be my favorite. There's a Capullo cover, but there's also another Brett Booth cover that is a connecting cover that connects with the King Spawn #1 and the upcoming The Scorched team book. So I'm getting all of these Spawn's universe titles for at least the first 5 issues. I'm gonna have to do some serious reading to see, do I want a whole universe of Spawn on my pull list, or is just the regular Spawn gonna be enough? This one's got a cover price of $5.99, but all issues moving forward will be just $2.99. So that's exciting. But yeah, I'm getting the cover A. Next up, since we're talking about independent comics, creator-owned titles, we'll keep it in the Spawn universe because King Spawn #3 is out this week as well. So I haven't been reading King Spawn. I buy Spawn because it looks pretty. But I do need to read all of these to decide if I'm going to keep buying them or wait for trade or what. So King Spawn #3. The cover A looks pretty cool. There's usually a Todd McFarlane cover, and that's usually what I go for. I haven't seen it in this week's solicits, though. So there's the cover A. But yeah, cover price is $2.99. Can't be mad with that. Next up on my independent creator-owned list is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 113. Now, excuse me, not 113, issue 122. Tripping. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 122. This one, honestly, is the last issue solicited. I don't think the series is ending because I feel like they would have made a bigger deal about it, but there's nothing on the horizon as of yet. So I'm curious to see what's going on, catch up with this whole Baxter Stockman saga. I've been kind of falling off the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I buy it mostly for these Kevin Eastman B covers that never get unveiled until like the day before. But yeah, that's what keeps this series on my pull list, and because I love the Turtles as a kid. But honestly, post issue 105-ish, the stories were just not that interesting to me. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting, well, I'm getting the cover B, but I can only show you the cover A because comics. And lastly, on my independent and creator-owned pull list is The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 25. The Walking Dead, you know, some would call it Robert Kirkman's opus. Some would say that's Invincible. Some would say it's Battle Pug. Who knows, right? But there's plenty of Robert Kirkman goodness in The Walking Dead, and they have been re-releasing this series in color with a bunch of extras every 2 weeks. And so we're at issue 25. I'm getting that one. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting the David Finch cover A. And that's going to do it. That's it for my independent creator-owned small publisher pull list. So if I just stick to the list, I don't get any extra variants or anything. But I'm just going to be looking at $17 out of pocket this week for those. Not bad at all. Let's move on to Marvel Comics, where there's only 2 books on the Marvel pull. The first of which is Thor, issue #18. Yes, now I know I told you guys that issue 17 was going to be my last issue of Thor because it was wrapping up a storyline and I hadn't been reading it anyway. But then they put Throg on the cover of issue 18 and it just looks really, really cool. And I just want that cover. It just looks good. So issue 18 will be my last issue of Thor. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting the cover A. And the last book on my Marvel pull list is X-Men: The Trial of Magneto #3. Now, The Trial of Magneto has been decent enough, but the ending is kind of spoiled by Inferno because, well, if Magneto's on trial in this series, but in Inferno he's front and center, obviously the trial had a favorable outcome for him. And honestly, like, Inferno's the only thing I'm super excited about in the X-Men world right now until it's over and they set up whatever's coming next. I'm kind of burnt out with a lot of these X titles, but I love the covers and I'm never going to buy this in collected edition, so I might as well keep the single issue so I can read them at a later date. Trial of Magneto #3 has a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting the cover A. And that's it for the Marvel pull list. So if I stick to the list, my Marvel comics are going to cost me just $8. Now, it's time to talk about the distinguished competition. DC $5 comic books. That's their name. $5 comics. So, anyway, FDC. Dang, that's bad. That sounded worse. It was for the 5. 5DC? $5 comics. That's what they stand for. But anyway, first up on the DC Comics pull list is Batman issue 115. We're in the middle of Fear State. Honestly, Fear State has just been okay to me so far. We're finally getting some action. We got a nice fight between Peacekeeper 10 and Peacekeeper 01, so that was cool in the last issue, but I honestly was kind of ready for this event to be over and see what Josh Williamson's got cooking up starting in issue 119. But that's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm just getting the cover A. Speaking of Batman, there's plenty of it on the pull list this week. Batman Catwoman #8. This one's written by Tom King with art by Liam Sharp, filling in for Clay Mann. This is like a time-jumping story, so I just decided to just read it once it's all together. Maybe I'll do like a binge read of the first 6 issues and do like a mini review of that. Then I'll read the second half of the series all together as well. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you would want to see. That's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm just getting the cover A. And more Batman. So the next book on the pull list is Batman Secret Files Peacekeeper 01. Now, you might be saying, well, Kix, if you're not enjoying the Fear State event, why are you buying all the Fear State tie-ins? Well, when James Tynion started his run on Batman last year, one of the first things that he did was this big fight with Batman and Deathstroke. And it basically happened off panel. We saw like one punch. And then a few months later, the Batman Secret Files issue came out, and that full fight between Batman and Deathstroke and the setup for the Joker War were all in that Secret Files issue. They like hiding important details in these Secret Files books, and I don't want to miss them. Maybe that'll make the event more enjoyable. So, Batman Secret Files Peacekeeper 01 has a cover price of $4.99. And I'm getting the cover A. Next up is The Flash, issue 775. The Flash by Jeremy Adams. It's been really cool, been really heartfelt. It's been really solid storytelling. My first experience with Wally West, but I'm really enjoying this Flash run. I think it could be really, really good. So I'm excited about that. It's got a cover price of $4.99. And I'm getting the cover A. And next up is Green Lantern #7. Now on the cover we've got it says Kilowog's Last Stand. If Kilowog dies, I'm going to be sad. And Jeffrey Thorne already said, like, no one is safe. No one's off the table. There's no agenda against anyone, but no one is safe. So I need to get caught up on this series. I've only read the first 3 issues. But I'm going to grab issue 7 because why not? I've been enjoying this kind of jumping back and forth between Jon Stewart and him trying to figure out what's going on with his troops, and then Joe Mullen trying to rescue people and Teen Lantern. Like, it's been interesting so far. I just gotta make time to read these books. That's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm just getting the cover A. Next up is a book that I once called my favorite DC comic. In fact, my favorite superhero comic on shelves. That is Nightwing. Issue 85 is out this week. Honestly, the series hasn't dropped in quality, but I've fallen behind on my reading as well. But not to worry. I've decided that I'm taking Wednesdays off. I don't post videos on Wednesdays anymore so that I can get caught up on all my comic book reading. So by the time Wednesday comes around, I'll be caught up on Nightwing and every other book that came out this week. And we'll talk about them on the Hangout later on Thursday evening. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe so you get the notifications. Nightwing 85's got a cover price of $3.99 because it's a respectable book by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo, and I'm just getting the cover A. And lastly, the last book on my DC Comics pull list is one that's making a lot of noise, and that is Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 4. Now, of course, the big announcement they made last week, we're not going to see come to pass until issue 5, but it's been solid storytelling so far. I mean, obviously, this series is all about figuring out the difference between John and Clark, and boy, are there a lot of differences, right? John Kent is wanting to be a Superman that, Clark never was, and, some people are excited about that. Some people are like, nah, you're pandering. I found it to be very enjoyable so far. Tom Taylor writes stories that really make you care about the characters, and this has been no exception. So, Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 4, is out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting the cover A. Now, if you've been doing the math, you might notice something that I noticed as well. So, my DC Comics, if I just stick to the list, are going to cost me $33 this week, which means my total comic budget this week, out of a 50 is what I try to keep my budget at. I try to limit myself to $50 a week. And we're looking at $58, which means I should probably drop 2 books. Now, one saving grace is the last time my comic shop did or had one of the new King Spawn's universe books, they decided to sell it for the regular Spawn price of $2.99, which would save me $3. And then my comics would only be $55 if they did that same sale again. I don't know if they're going to, but if they did, cool, right? And then I'd still have to cut out another book. And it's either going to be Thor 18 or the Batman Secret Files Peacekeeper. So I'm thinking I'm going to cut the Secret Files Peacekeeper all one book because it's $5 and I haven't been enjoying Fear State anyway. If it comes down to it and I have to drop one more book, yeah, it's probably going to have to be Thor 18, which sucks because I love that cover. But anyway, that's what's on the pull list for me this week. What books are you guys looking out for? There's always something that you're reading that I'm not, so I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And if you want to talk comics with me all the time, you should join my community. It's called the K-Squad. There are now 2 ways to join. You can join us on Facebook or on Discord, and the links to both are in the description below. But anyway, I hope you saw something you liked in this video. If not, that's cool. You can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. And be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.